Georgia, and this is what I spend in a week as a yuppie in Sydney. So a bit about me, I'm in my early 30s in Sydney. I live here with my partner and dog in the back of an old shop that we bought and converted into a home. So our biggest expense is our mortgage, but this is my day-to-day in an average week spending. So I have a salaried job 4 days a week, and then I keep Fridays to do content creation. I have a Instagram and TikTok and now YouTube called Okay With My Hands because I make DIY, upcycling, op shopping content. So given that what I like to talk about is just having a stylish and creative life without the planet and your wallet, I feel like this just kind of vaguely in the niche. And we're all just kind of nosy, right? I started documenting this on a Sunday, the night after one of my good friend's hens nights, and I just spent way too much money. Not too much money, it was worth it. But it does mean that this was a fairly normal work week in my life where I was also trying to not splurge on things. I use a budget spreadsheet to track all my spending. And I also use sinking funds a lot, which if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments and I will do a whole sort of breakdown about how I personally use sinking funds and how I track them and, make sure that I've got enough money for all my upcoming expenses. Anyway, let's get into it. So starting on Sunday, this I guess would be Saturday night, but it was 2:00 on Sunday morning. So it came up in my Sunday transactions. First transaction was Uber, $23.38. That was coming from karaoke to home. Then I managed to get myself out of bed despite having 7 bottles of wine the night before because my friend had gotten us tickets to a talk at All About Women Festival at the Sydney Opera House. Both her and I are pretty undecided about whether we want to have kids or not and talk about it a lot. And there was this talk called The Baby Boycott that we went and saw. And it was described as a discussion about why some women are opting out of reproduction now for various reasons. I will say, there were 3 panelists that were all incredible and had valuable things to add to the conversations independently, but they all were women who had babies or were planning to have babies or were really thinking about it, but no one that was I have chosen not to have a baby because. That's by the by. When we arrived at the Opera House, I got a long black, which was $5.09 to kickstart the brain cells that morning. Then we went for a little walk through the Botanic Gardens, got on a train, which cost $2.94 to go and get some lunch, where I bought myself and my friend some lunch because she bought the ticket. And that was $54.30 for Vietnamese lunch for 2 of us and a drink. The rest of that day, I just chilled at home. Jai, my partner, got groceries on our joint account, so that was $11.05 for my portion. For anything that's joint that happened this week, I'm just gonna put in my half. I can also do some videos about joint finances, having partially separate, partially joint, if there's any interest in that. Next day was Monday. That is a work day for me. I was just working from home, made coffee at home. I didn't actually spend any money, but that evening, Jai went to basketball and got petrol on his way on our joint account. So that was $21.50 for my portion. And I also went to the gym on Monday. I have a membership that charges me fortnightly. So I just thought for the purpose of this video, I don't think I was charged this week, but it would have been $17.95 for the week. And then I just made dinner at home with groceries we already had. Tuesday, what happened Tuesday? Oh yeah, Tuesday I had therapy. So it was also a work day. I worked from home in the morning, then had a therapy appointment, then went to meet my colleague at the library to do some work. So I had to park on the street there. That was $7.90. Therapy it's $190, but we get a Medicare rebate. If you're not in Australia, that's our government rebate for medical appointments. I got back $96.65, I think. So my out of pocket was $93.35. Then while I was there, I had just gone on an op shopping trip with my grandma. I'm going to post a vlog and a haul about that in the next couple of weeks. And I'd gotten 3 jackets for $5 each that I wanted to get dry cleaned. And so dry cleaning was $20. Normally when I track this, I would track that as life admin, but when I tally this up at the end, I'm going to count this under shopping because it was kind of I see dry cleaning when I'm buying something secondhand as just part of the original fee. Then, as I said, I met my colleague at the library and I got a coffee there. At Marrickville Library, they have a coffee shop built in. It's really cute. That was $4.55 for an oat latte. And then I just came home. I think Jai made dinner and didn't spend any more money. Wednesday. I'm about to take Billy for a walk and I really want to go and buy an iced oat latte. which I was planning to, but now I'm like getting the guilt, and I'm gonna make a pot of coffee now so that then when I get back from the walk, it's ready. If I don't get out of this house within 4 minutes, this dog, you're gonna be cranky. So I took Billy for a walk and I managed to resist the urge to buy a coffee. I had that ready for me when I came home, and I didn't spend any other money that day. There was a charge for $3 or $2.99 on our joint account. I think Jai had to pick up like some coriander or something for dinner that night. Thursday, I was working from home again, and then Jai went away this weekend, so I dropped him to the airport after work. He just got it, like I didn't have to park or anything, so there was no fees for that. But I went to Marrickville Metro afterwards and I did a big grocery shop, like a big stock up. I think this would have been the most expensive day of the week. At Aldi, I spent my portion was $58.79. And then there wasn't everything that I wanted to get at Aldi, so I went over to Woolworths and I spent, my half was $67.39. I went overboard here, I would say. Jai tends to be more of like, he likes to go to the greengrocer and just buy what we need for that week, which I love, but he sometimes doesn't think as much as I do about like, okay, do we need yogurt? Do we need cheeses? Do we need nuts? Do we need lentils? Like basics, blah, blah, blah. And so I think that I got a bit trigger happy with him not being there to say, do we really need that? And like feta was on sale, so I bought 2 of them. Now I'm like, why? Same with halloumi and like all this stuff where whatever, it's fine. But like I probably could have easily spent $50 less. What you going to do about it? What that did also mean though is that I had to put all the groceries away, and we didn't have that much space. Also, since then I've listened to a podcast about like, I eat mostly vegetarian, and with like chickpeas and lentils and legumes, I prefer in theory to soak them and cook them. But we also have some like canned ones on hand all the time because sometimes you just like forget last minute, or you're just making a salad and want to chuck some chickpeas in. So I bought extra non-perishable items such as chickpeas and lentils. I think I got 2 cans of each. Then I got home and realized that we already had a bunch because I must have restocked last time and forgotten about it. And then I just listened to a podcast about how microplastics are in the lining of cans. So that evening, I just cooked dinner with aforementioned excess of groceries. I had a bottle of wine already at home, so I didn't need to spend any money on that. Took Billy for a long walk at sunset, and yeah, that was it. Now, Friday. Friday is my much more flexible day to do content creation, or maybe like spend time with my grandma, or sometimes I do need to work at my other job. Like if we're traveling, I might be away for the full week. Anyway, I love Fridays because I will generally take Billy for like a giant walk. She might go for a swim and I can like do some life admin, blah, blah, blah. So I treated myself to an iced oat latte on this morning. That was $6.59. And whenever I get oat lattes from this place, I'm always like, it's so small compared to like, you know, often they're a bit bigger. It's small and a bit more expensive, but actually it's really good. So that was money well spent. Then I had taken Billy down to, if you're familiar with Sydney, Glebe Foreshore, and then walked up through Glebe so I could pick up my dry cleaning. And it was just like the most beautiful Friday. This woman was walking around with sunflowers, and I was like, oh, maybe I should buy some sunflowers and just like, you know, go to the fruit shop and buy some little things. But I did resist. But I probably would have bought a fruit box if I didn't have to carry my dry cleaning as well. I didn't do anything on Friday night. I had a bit of work to catch up on, but I went to a 5 p.m. Reformer Pilates class. Because yes, I am better than you. I went to a Friday night Reformer Pilates class. I booked this on ClassPass. At the moment, I have the $55 a month for 22 credits, like plan. I'd cancelled it last month because I was trying to find somewhere to save money in my budget. But I really did miss having the option of just like being able to take a reformer class here or there. And at this studio that I went to, a one-off class is $42, which, I mean, it must be an expensive business to run, but it's really, that's so much money for me I can't. But on ClassPass, with the plan that I had and the amount of credits that this class needed, it was the equivalent of $15. So happy with that. So that money didn't come out of my bank this week, but I'm including it in here just for your reference. Saturday morning, I used ClassPass again and I went to a yoga class. That was $12.50 worth of credits. And then I did a body scan. bear with me. I feel like I sound a lot more fitspo than I am, but I am trying to be healthier. And last year I did I think we did 6 weeks, no alcohol, we're big drinkers, exercised every day, blah, blah, blah. And I'd seen at a local, I don't know, aesthetics place that they had a body scan machine where it calculates your muscle mass, fat around your liver, measurements, blah, blah, blah. So a much more accurate picture than just a scale of how your health is going. And I really like that because my weight will often go up, but I've realized through these scans that my muscle is going up and my fat's going down. If you do the scans one-off, they are $30, but I got a pack that was 5 for $100. So again, even though I didn't pay for it this week, for your reference, I'm going to put it in here as $20 on my budget. Now, the weather was stunning on this day, and I had found something on Facebook Marketplace. I'm pretty sure Jai isn't going to watch this video, and I think I'm going to need his help to get it out of the car anyway, so it probably won't be a surprise. He has gotten really into darts lately. When we go to the pub with friends, he's just been like, I want a dartboard, blah, blah, blah. And so I found one on Marketplace, which is in this cool timber box, which I think will be cool. And I think it would be a cool upcycle project sometime this year. His birthday's in September, gives me plenty of time to do that. I'm sure I'll leave it till the week before. And that was in Matraville, which is a suburb towards the beaches, towards the eastern suburbs. So I bought that for $50. If I could have, I would have bought this from my business bank account and not counted this in my personal transactions. But because it was Marketplace and just a transfer that I couldn't get a receipt for, I paid for this myself and I'll just, cop that. So then I went to have a quick dip at Kongwong Beach. I've never been there before, but it had been on my list. And one of my goals this year has been to appreciate Sydney more, go swimming more. So did that, packed myself a bagel before so I didn't have to spend any money while I was out. It's nice to come here and remind myself why I pay such an exorbitant mortgage. However, on my way back, I drove past the pop-up fruit van stall thing, which they get me every time. If you're not in Australia, I don't know how to describe this, but often on big highways, it'll say pull over, mangoes, a box for $20, blah, blah, blah. And then you pull up and it's just a truck that's got the side open or a van that's got the back open, and they'll have boxes of fruit that's really quite cheap. They didn't have vegetables. I would have loved a veggie box, but I just love the hustle. They were out there in the heat. So I bought some lemons, limes, $18.50, put it on the joint account. So my contribution was $9.25. And I stopped into Bunnings after that because I had to pick up some things for a brand partnership I've got to film. So I won't include that in the budget for this. I think I spent $150, but that came out of my business account. So not relevant to my personal spending, but just for your context. Then I I just remembered I'll have to include a toll. Because after I finished in the eastern suburbs, I headed to the inner west. I went to Summer Hill to meet up with one of my friends for a drink, but I just put maps on and it took me on the M8, which is a mega toll tunnel that we have here. And often I feel like that's $10. Let me look that up actually. We have toll accounts where it will just top up your account I think mine's on $40. So it doesn't charge me every single time, but it adds up. So I will add this to this. Oh, not so bad. It was $4.99. I thought it was always $10 in there because especially when they had just built it, which was not that long ago, maybe last year, the entrances just kind of appear out of nowhere. And then you're like, oh, I am going way past the suburbs I was meant to be in. And you hear the beep and that's $10.50 and then you have to get back on it to come back and beep. Anyway, I'm glad that was only $4.99. I got to Summer Hill and I had to pick up some prescriptions. That was $45.25. I went from someone that didn't take any medications a few years ago to now I have 4 and just adds up. But health is wealth, baby. So yeah, that was $45.25. And then while I was in the pharmacy, I remembered I need deodorant and it was expensive in there. So I jumped onto Amazon. Sorry, I know we hate Bezos, but jumped onto Amazon and I bought 3 deodorants for $30. Then once my friend arrived, popped across the road to a bar called The Rio. I'd been to the one next door to that, but not that one before, and it was very cute. My charming friend gave the bird in the back of my wine thing, and I could not for the life of me get some guac on my chippy. But alas, that was $40.50 for wine and guac. And then I just came home and hung out with Billy because, yeah, Jai isn't here. So it's me and Bill all weekend. And I took her for a big walk and a swim. And that brings us to today, Sunday. Wrong, I forgot to check my other account where all my bills come out of. I have a weekly auto investment on 3 micro investing platforms. So I also spent $35 on investments this week. So my total spend for the whole week, including my half of joint accounts expenses and some pro rata amounts of gym classes that I had prepaid for, was $658.77, which I gotta say is like higher than I thought it was, because I did kind of think I didn't think I was not spending money, but like as you can see, I'm not a big shopper. I generally buy everything secondhand. Given that doesn't include my mortgage or bills or anything, I'm like, it's a big number. It's expensive to be alive. And then when I break it up, the biggest chunk was groceries, which is fine. As I said, I did a bigger shop than normal, and that's also just like, I think that's a good place for the biggest chunk of my money to be. Therapy, again, that's actually like a money goal of mine as far as like, that's what I want to be spending my money on. Looking at all of this, like I'm not unhappy with that spread. I do think it might just be expensive to be alive. So not sure what we've learned from this, gals. But if nothing else, I hope you just had a good time being nosy in a regular week in my life. Please let me know if you enjoyed this video or like stuff like this. As I said, I love personal finance content. I do think it's really interesting and empowering. And I particularly love using sinking funds and talking about like how to manage your money as a woman in a relationship, keeping some finances separate, some joint that are more practical. So if you want videos about that specifically, let me know, because I'm sure I could muster something up. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this far. Like, subscribe, etc.